Cameras.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Impact Worldwide. I'm Rob Commodari here, and I'm with my guest, special friend and guest, John Kantorski. John, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing today, Rob?
Great. So, John, we've been in real estate together for a long time. You've been in it 15 years now. Is that correct?
About that. Yep. Feels like forever.
It feels like forever.
Some days.
What's that?
Some days it feels like forever.
Well, we'll get into why it feels that way. What were you doing before you got into the real estate world?
I was actually in IT for 20 years.
So IT for 20 years. So when I hear IT, I hear like engineer kind of person. Would you?
I was a software tester. So yeah, I would test software applications.
Okay.
They would write the new version of something, and I would try to break it. So I
try to break it.
Break it. Yeah, that was my goal. My goal was to break whatever, break the software, break the spirit, whatever I had to break to get the job done.
It's all good, man. It's all good. So tell me, why did you get out of the tech world and into real estate?
I started as an investor.
You did? I didn't know that.
I had a rental property, and what really got me into it was I tried to sell my house myself.
Oh, really?
I was a FSBO, and I won't mention the agent's name, but she's still an agent today, and she honestly took advantage of me, but I just made mistakes, and I kind of said to myself, I enjoyed doing it, but then I was like, I'm going to make sure that nobody else makes these mistakes, and that kind of led me to get in the business to make sure that nobody else had the same experience I did.
Yeah, well, good. So were you said you did a FSBO, but you had an agent work with you.
The buyer's agent. The buyer's agent on the other side. Yeah. I didn't know what I should and shouldn't say. I didn't know how to negotiate. I was in IT. I didn't negotiate much. So, yeah. She took.
So what did you learn from that? Tell me what you learned from that.
Oh, just the right way to represent people. To the right way to look out for other people's interests, because I want to make sure that, because I didn't know how to look out for my own. So, fool me once, shame on me. So that kind of led me to start. I got my license a year later. Not even.
And how long ago was it? You said 15 years. So you're talking about 2006, maybe?
7.
Yep. So you got in at the tail end of the.
Oh yeah, I'm great with timing. Yeah. As soon as I came in, right down. Yeah.
So you made a comment on how to best represent our clients. So part of our call today, or this interview today, is about really doing business by referral and staying positive and treating our clients well and whatnot. And how do we do that, and the importance of it. So a great segue for that. So 15 years in the business. I know we're both in this Buffini organization getting coached. I say together, but separately. Did you join that Buffini coaching right away?
Not long after. Yeah. Like I did this part-time, for the first 6 years. I was part-time. So I'd work 6 to 2 in my IT job. And then I would run out and, I did two deals my first year. So I wasn't running out and doing too much after work.
So you weren't running out telling everybody I got to get into real estate because you only did 2 deals.
Right. Yeah, no, because I'd done 2, and then it's kind of built up, and I didn't get into the working by referral business probably until like 20. Truly adopting it and adopting this lifestyle of giving and loving on our people, probably in a systematic fashion, right? I think we all, if your heart's truly in this business, you're looking out for other people and you're trying to work by referral in some way. But I didn't latch on to this systemized way of doing it until like 2014 when I went full time.
So you're talking about 7 years already into the business before you picked up this idea of working by referral.
Yeah, truly. Obviously, you always want to get referrals, but I never really had a systemized fashion for it. And then when I finally got the guts to go full time, I closed 62 deals, and I was working a full time job the year I left real estate. So I finally felt comfortable enough to leave the warmth and comfort of a salary and benefits and all that.
Sometimes you gotta I guess fly the coop and figure it out, right? And I'm sure, were you scared when you did it?
Oh, I'm still scared.
All right, well, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about what scares you.
Oh, it's just like, what does Brian say? There's no ceiling, but there's also no floor. So I think you reach a point in your business where you worry less about, am I going to make the mortgage payment? But you start funding other things in your life, right? As you move from what, survival to stability to significance.
Success, significance, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry, success, not stability, but success and significance. So, but using that model for that, I mean, that certainly has created the success and significance in my business, for whatever level that is compared to others.
So, John, I think that's a great segue to what we can go, because none of this is planned out. We just have these conversations to see where they go. Because
so we're going to ad lib it all, right, Rob?
That's right.
Ad lib it all. I love it.
But I love the fact that you brought up the whole sequence model. Okay, so for those who are listening or watching later, there's a sequence to business, as we've learned in our coaching. There's also a sequence to life. And what is that sequence for you? What is that sequence for me? So we've been taught in our training that there's 4 levels of growth in our lives and our spheres of influence. And those 4 levels are survival, stability, success, and significance. And I think in our business, if I had a whiteboard right now, I'd just draw this little up and down thing. The real estate business is up and down, up and down, up and down, because we sit there and do the activities, working by referral. We get a deal, and all of a sudden we start servicing the deal, and we forget about our activities. And then then all of a sudden we're down at square one again, and we got to do the activities, rush again, and we get 2 deals. And then as we get 2 deals, then we're worried about paying the bills, paying the mortgage, then maybe buying ourselves a suit or a car. Oh, no, by the way, we want to save the world and create some charitable foundation. So we get out of sequence, and next thing you know, we got to get back to doing those activities again. And so many people forget about what gets you to success, what gets you to significance. It's that stability piece. So, John, what does stability mean to you?
I think stability is knowing that there's going to be a regular stream of some source of business, of a pipeline. So for me, stability is knowing that if I do the stability activities, that I can expect to see that pipeline of business, which then allows the stability of, being able to not necessarily worry about, like I have a deal right now that's not going so well. And I even told my people, if you want to walk away, we can, and not bothering me, because I don't need this deal to make my mortgage payment. I think some realtors do need this deal to make their mortgage payment. And sometimes that may lead you to make decisions not based in your client's best needs to some degree, whether not saying purposefully, but I really need this deal to close. So what can I do to keep Joe and Sally in this deal? Versus saying, Joe and Sally, I want to work with in the best interest of you. So if this isn't the deal, this isn't the deal.
So you're talking, and that's in that breath, I think you're talking about representing the client as best you can. And then I want to go back to that stability piece, because you know the movie Hitch. Remember the movie Hitch? Mm-hmm. And he's Will Smith is the love doctor, right? And I forget who's the guy who's his client. The guy Kevin James. So Kevin James is infatuated with this girl, and he wants to do all these wild, crazy dances, and learn how to dance to attract her that way.
Right.
Will Smith, he uses that analogy, and I'll see if I can do this on the screen. And he says,
"Oh, I know, yep.
Stay right here. Stay right
place.
Here, right? Stay right here." And I think the encouragement there is, when I think about that in our business, is we get out of whack. And if we don't stay right here working on that stability piece, working on doing those activities day in and day out with consistency, we go all over the place like that wild, crazy dance, instead of being focused right here and let that build and build and build our way up our path through success and significance. Would you agree with that?
I do. And I think it goes back to finding what creates that stability for you, because like we were saying before this call started, there's lots of ways to generate business, and it's finding the one that works best for your personality and for the way you want to live your life and the way you'll be able to feel comfortable in this business, because there's plenty of people who get up every morning and call every expired listing out there. And that's their version of creating stability. That's how they're going to create stability. And the best, it works for their mindset. For me, I've never made a call like that before, because my mindset and my comfort in creating that stability, my plan for that has always been working by referral, because it fits my personality naturally, and it fits the way I want to live my life. It helps me go to sleep, at night, knowing that I've done what I can for my clients in that way. So I think finding that that whatever that path is. And for you and I, we've chosen working by referral as that way. You could have chosen to just work Zillow leads. There's agents that we both know that, that's how they create their stability.
Well, and that's the path they choose. So
right. So it's finding that comfort level of what works best for your lifestyle. And for you and I, and a lot of people we know, it's been loving on our people and focusing on those relationships with the people in our database, creating new relationships in our database, creating new connections between people in our database. And the business comes from that. Not necessarily doing it for the business, but knowing that the business kind of comes from that.
Well, let me ask this question. Is there a difference, and if so, what is it, between working by referral and word of mouth?
Oh, yeah. In fact, working by referral is when you systematize it.
I'll go with systematize.
Systematize is when you systematize how you want to generate those referrals. I met an agent last year, maybe 2 years ago now. With COVID, everything seems like it was last year, but it was actually 7 years ago. And we talked, and she was having trouble. It was May. I remember it was May. And she's like, I usually close about 10, 12 deals a year, and it's all people that call me through friends. And I said, how many deals have you done yet this year? And she said, 0. It was May. She had done 0 deals. And I said, well, how do you get these calls? She goes, they just call me. They just call me. Like, do you call them? Do you have an event? Do you send cards? No, people just call me. So I think there's people who do word of mouth thinking that people are just going to know who they are. And that's what that example always sticks in my head of somebody who's word of mouth thinking that somehow magically Rob's going to mention John at a party. Where working by referral is systematizing and purposefully staying top of mind with your clients in order so that when they're at that party, Rob is more likely to mention John. So I think that's where word of mouth and working by referral, I think there's a plan, there's a system versus just hoping.
Well, so you said a couple of things there. You said hoping, that's to me the same as I think that one of the things is working by word of mouth is waiting, hoping, where working by referral is going finding it, right? You're finding it.
Offense and defense.
Offense, right? Defense, right? And then it's the working word of mouth is fearful, I would think, because you could draw a fine line between these two things because it's fearful because you don't know. It was May. You're talking about this girl that didn't get anything till May. So in some sense of the word, it's fearful because you don't know when it's coming. Now, working by referral, you might not know when the referral is coming, but if you do those activities, you're going to get a referral.
Yeah, if you give your heart to the system, if you open your heart and give it to the system, you can again, there's hope. There's always the mustard seed of faith.
Oh, I love that. The mustard seed.
I knew you would too. I was saving that in my pocket. I had that in my pocket.
Let's go biblical here. Let's go biblical here.
That mustard seed of faith. That you're. If you don't go to church, you're definitely not going to heaven. If you go to church, at least you got a chance, right? you might wake up and there's Buddha standing there in front of you, and you say, "Damn it, I picked wrong." But if you don't, by having that little bit of faith and building that system, you can have a little more comfort thinking that something's going to come, versus being that word of mouth saying, "Well, I put a Facebook post up that I'm a realtor. Where's all my leads? Where's all my business?"
From the word of mouth perspective, it's more inconsistent, and in working by referral, it's more predictable.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, I talked to my coach today, and she was going through my contact to referral and my referral to close numbers and how we can try to improve those and ways to better tracking so we can find that. I mean, that's one of the things about this system. Not that we're trying to sell Buffini's system, but if you do this long enough, that if you do X number of contacts, you should see X amount of business. Just like a guy who bats 297 every year, you can bet the next year he's going to bat 297 as long as he does the same things he's been doing. Or in that range.
Because you're tracking.
Because the player's done the planning and the homework, and we've done our planning and homework, and you're tracking your metrics.
And so you made a comment about ratios. Why? Tell me what's important about the ratios. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I think working the referral system, knowing that if I make 20, like my referral ratio, my contact to referral ratio, I think is 17-1.
Okay.
The average is about 20, and I'm probably worse than that just because I'm not great at tracking. Still not great at tracking.
Up until now.
But up until this minute.
Until
From here on out, I am Mr. Tracker.
So John, if I could take a pause right there. So anybody out there that says, I'm not good enough at tracking, I'm not good enough at doing business by referral, the follow-up to that is always up until now, which means going forward, you're getting better, right, John?
From here on out, right. I am never going to drink again after that. After last night, I will never, I promise God, I'll never
up
drink
until now.
But
back to the ratios.
back to the ratios. But knowing that if I make 17 contacts, I should get a referral. Now, whether that's the next day, that's the whole thing. Again, batting average. You may bat 270 for part of the season and 320 for another part of the season. I got four referrals last week. I don't get 4 referrals every week, but I got 4 last week, which is I think
that's awesome.
I got 4 referrals from clients and other agents last week, and so I mean stuff like that. So it's going to may come in spurts, and then knowing that for me it's a 2-to-1 ratio. Every 2 referrals I get equal 1 closing. I think that may be rounding up. So knowing that if I make, let's just say 20-to-1, let's just use 20. If I make 200 contacts, I should get 10 referrals, which should get me 5 closings.
So John, let's dive into that a little bit, because I think there's some people that could be saying, I love when people say my referral to close ratio is 100%. I'm like, really? Yeah. So what does that mean? You got 5 referrals for the year and you closed all 5? Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay,
congratulations, Charlie.
Yeah, right. Congratulations. So you got to work it. You got to work this system. And yes, you got to, like mine is 20. I think it was like 22-to-1, but now it's down to 20-to-1 contacts to referrals. Right. And I am a 2-to-1 ratio. So I know, and this is part of the tracking and predictability piece of working by referral versus word of mouth. Because if I know last year I got 200 referrals, I did 100 deals, and it took me, so what's that, 4,000? That would be 4,000 calls or 4,000 voice-to-voices to get 200 referrals, right? So let's back out the numbers. I know if I do 4,000 contacts, I get 200 referrals. That means I'm going to do 100 deals. My ratio is 2-to-1. I know that going into the next year. So if I want to increase my goals or make my goals better or make them the same, we know by tracking what we need to do. And like you just said, okay, I got 4 referrals last week. You're not going to get 4 referrals every week, because that could be 208 referrals, which isn't bad.
No, it'd be great to get that. Yeah,
it's just 104 deals, right? That's right. Good. But you might go 2-3 weeks without a referral. But if you know, based on your tracking and based on the consistency of doing this week in and week out, there's going to be a week where you may get 4 referrals, a week none, and a week where you get 10 referrals. And it's going to vary all over the place. But by tracking that you can predict what you're going to end up getting.
Exactly. But exactly. Having that numbers, again, gives you it lets you sleep a little better at night instead of word of mouth thinking it's May and I have 0 deals, I have 0 clients. At least it gives you a little more hope. Right, because you can't guarantee, even if you can't guarantee that, right? Because that guy, you use my baseball analogy again, the guy that bats 297 could bat 240 the next year. But at least if you do these things, maybe you don't do 100, right? Maybe you only hit 90, but at least you're going to be in a range. At least you can start. For me, I'm the more pragmatic personality, so I like I think about black and white, so I can then plan my life out. Plan the other things in my life, that whether it's my business planning, my personal planning, based on being able to know that I'm going to close 90 to 110 deals, if that's your number, using your numbers. So maybe it's 90, maybe it's 90, and we don't save quite as much, or maybe it's 110 and we get going on an extra vacation.
There you
go. If I do the work, it's going to be there.
So you said 2 things. 2 things that struck a chord with me. If you do the work and planning, right, and you use baseball. So I'm going to use another baseball analogy or metaphor, if you will. And it's like the baseball player goes out there, and how does the infielder get better? He's got to go out there and he's got to take ground balls before the game. And how many does he take?
Oh, hundreds.
Hundreds. So he's got to do the reps. He's got to take the ground balls. So I get up every day. I got this mantra in my head is take the ground balls, take the ground balls, take the ground balls. Take that over to real estate. What does that mean? Make the phone calls, write the notes, do the Popeyes, Do the reps.
Right.
You got to do the reps. You got to do the reps. You got to do the reps. And from a basketball standpoint, it's like foul shots.
Right.
Not one. I practiced today. I took 3 shots. That's not practice.
Right.
That's not doing the reps. So we talked about doing the reps. You have to do the reps. You got to do the work. And John, would you agree that it's easy to do, but easier not to do?
Oh, it's super easy not to do. I mean, I would talk to my coach today, and I didn't get anything done yesterday because I had a deal going sideways. So it was easy, and then you have to build. And I think it's building your mindset too, right? It's building the habits and building the mindset of wanting to do these things. You got to want to do it, just like anything. You got to want to do it and want to. Like yesterday, I didn't make any calls yesterday because I knew I was afraid of what I might say to clients on the phone. Like I knew I wasn't going to come from a place of love because of the mindset I was in yesterday. And so sometimes like people are like, oh, I was in a bad mood. I made some calls and I felt better. I knew if I was probably going to maybe lose a relationship. When I made calls yesterday.
But you were aware. You were aware of where your mindset was.
Right.
Yeah. So let's come back to that in a second, because the other thing you said earlier was about planning. You can do so many deals and you can plan your life, your vacations or whatever. So there's a difference between the salesperson's mindset and the entrepreneurial person's mindset. So, and I think you agree with me here, that the salesperson mindset is one of being transactional. It's short term, and they react to the business and they allow the business to run their lives. Whereas, what would you tell me about the entrepreneur?
Well, they're going to make the rest of their life. I mean, they're going to make the business work around their life.
So the business is going to support their life.
Right. It's going to support your life, and the business won't necessarily be. We talk about the rocks and stones and sand and water in the jar analogy, and for me, the big rocks are never work. It's always my family. So the first things that go into my schedule for the year are my family things, not 8 to 10 lead gen time. The first things are the family things, and let the business support that and make sure that works.
So again, but you're using the business to support your life instead of running.
Exactly. Yeah. As much as you can, right? I mean, that's an idealistic thing to say. Especially if you're still in the survival mode. It's easy to say, oh, well, let your business support your life. Well, when you've got a mortgage payment and you're doing 6 deals a year and you're on a split and everything else. It's easy to say, but that's how you get there.
You got to build to that. You got to build, right?
So having that mindset and being able to plan and make that work now can make it work later, and trusting a system that you're in. And again, that kind of goes back to the original comment of there's lots of systems out there. Just finding the one that works best for you in this business, because this doing by the seat of your pants is not the right way.
Well, so I agree with what you just said. There's a lot of systems out there. I think all systems work as long as you work them.
Right. Like they would say, what CRM is the best? It's the one you're using. As long as you're doing it. If you have Referral Maker, you're not using it, then you're just throwing away that money each month. If you have Follow Up Boss or Top Producer, and you're not using the system, then you're just throwing that money away. And so finding the one that fits your personality and mindset. And you and I have taught a bunch of these classes to people on Buffini and working by referral. And some people get it, and some people, they never really do it. And that's fine. There's no right or wrong answer.
Well, it's almost like, I equate it this way. It's almost like this coaching system, the Buffini system for us, it's almost like an open book test. So let's look at it this way. If you take this test, this system, so we're given the system, we're given the answers. Make calls, write notes, and go see people, have parties. Those are the answers, and it's A, B, C, and D, all the above is E, right? But so many people don't want to commit to it. They don't want to stay consistent with the process, because in this world of I want it yesterday and I am entitled to it yesterday, people are like, if I don't see a result today, this system's not working.
Sure.
So that takes us to the mindset piece.
Right. And again, that's when you're in that survival mode. It can be tough to commit to. I think some people I've spoken to that are new agents. I have a new agent on my team, and he's fully committed to this, but he also is realizing that it's not going to be, okay, I send out a note card and I get a referral the next day. Realize that it's a slippery. Talk with my coach today. I have a bunch of things in the pipeline, but there's nobody. I have two pending right now.
Uh-huh.
So I got tons of people in the pipeline, but so I got to trust that those things are going to happen and more are going to come in. So having trust in the system and in yourself, and opening your heart to like knowing that there's going to be times where your faith is tested.
Well, faith of mustard seed. Let's go back to the mustard seed, right?
Exactly.
The mustard seed's the smallest seed out there, but it grows into the biggest plant.
Right.
So you talked about, okay, you got two pending, but you know what your God, what did you say? Your
pipeline. I mean, I know pipeline. I got a pipeline. Yeah.
So what happens, John, because you have a pipeline, because you have it tracked and somewhere, that I'm assuming it puts your mind a little more at ease than if you're flying by the seat of the pants and you didn't have it documented anywhere and you're like, I got two pending. Where's my next deal coming from?
Right. Yeah. And that's the beauty of having a system of some sort to track what you have, track your business, and track your activities. Yeah.
Because I remember when I first got into business, if I didn't get a referral again, like we talked about this a little earlier in the show here, that 2-3 weeks ago by and I get a referral, I'd freak out. But now, anytime I talk to somebody and they're a potential seller or buyer, we put them in a little the pipeline or the potential buyer, potential seller file or group. And whenever I always look at my current transactions that are pending, I look at my closed, I look at active, and I look at potential. And I think potential is what people forget to look at. Because if you have potentials in there's somebody we need to dive into, we need to nurture, we need to cultivate, we need to, represent them, with the way they need to be represented as somebody who may not be ready now, but ready in 6 months, 3 months, a year, whatever it is. We just got to stay and be in relationship with them, not for the transaction. Would you agree with that?
No, I was saying taking that next step further is not even looking at, okay, I've got Rob as a potential in my database. I'm not necessarily, and this is how people need to think, my opinion, is I'm not necessarily thinking about Rob's deal. Because if I'm talking to Rob and I'm being consistent and I'm being true to serving Rob, I'm going to get Rob's business. My focus now is how can I get Rob's cousin, Rob's coworker, Rob's sister, the referrals, the second level referrals that come from Rob. Because Rob's only going to buy a house once in the next 5 to 10 years, more than likely, unless you're an investor. So looking at Rob, I think we talked before about like the first level referrals and the second level referrals. And because once those first level referrals are gone, there's only so many people that they're going to buy a house. Like an agent on my team is not my team anymore. He sold 18 houses one year and he left the team thinking, I'm good to go. Well, he hasn't sold that many since because he went through all his first level referrals. Everybody who he knew in his database that was going to buy a house, bought a house. Well, now the challenge is, how do I get those people to tell their friends about me? How do I get those people to be my advocates and know that I'm going to be the best person to serve their interests and be out there for me, selling for me? That's the secret to unlock to take your business to the next level.
What's that dialogue? What's that dialogue to ask for that referral?
Oh, it's consistent communication. And, we say if you were, we could do the whole Buffini, if you were a family member looking to buy or sell, I'm never too busy for referrals. I mean, there's a million things. Like I'm making some calls this month about interest rates going up. So, if anybody, everybody talking about buying or selling a house, rates are going up. So now might be the time to look into that so that, you turn on that reticular activator in their mind so that when they're at a party, when they're at a friend's house, when they're at a Super Bowl, when they're at the Super Bowl party at their friend's house, and somebody says, yeah, I think me and Martha are going to go start house shopping. They think of you because I can get Rob's deal. If I've done it right, I've got Rob's deal. How can I get the other deals that are out there from Rob?
And John, would you say there's different points in the transaction where you could ask for a referral?
Well, throughout. I mean, you should be checking in every week with your people, at least every week. And that's usually what I say. I may not have something to report every week, but you're going to hear from me at least once a week. Touch base Tuesday or whatever you want to call it. And that's another agent I know calls it. So, but then reaching out and saying, hey, not much to report right now. Lending's fine. That's fine. And like I said, if you're anybody looking to buy or sell, I like to give somebody the same experience I'm having with you. If you want somebody who's going to have the same good time we're having right now, you came out to our pie party last month. Send me some more people. I want to give out more pies every year. There's always ways to just ask.
Yeah, we boosted Costco and BJ stock, right?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
So,
by making offers, not asking for giving, but saying, what can I offer to you and your people?
Yeah, so John, I think about 4 different, it could be 3, 4, 5 different times where I think, like when we first got in this business, even my assistant with me, we would always think, okay, I can't ask for that referral until the deal is closed. That means we had a successful transaction. And I think that's a fallacy that a lot of realtors, especially the younger group, will believe in and buy into, which is really going to set you back and hurt you. I think the best time, and you said it, and you said all during and all throughout the transaction. And I think there's certain points during a transaction, whether it's a buyer or seller, that we could go back to our clients and say, hey, look, I got great news for you. Your offer got accepted. And what are you going to say when I say your offer got accepted? You're going to be happy. You're going to say something on a very positive way, right?
Right.
You might say, hey, Rob, thanks so much for doing that. Hey, John, who else do you know would appreciate that same level of enthusiasm or that same service to get their offer accepted? Who else do you know? And then, okay, the contract gets accepted. We get through we go into the home inspection, and we got some issues we got to get through, and you finally get it worked out. And you're like, John, just letting you know, man, everything's worked out with the home inspection. Are you happy?
I'm delighted, Rob. You're the best.
So, John, who else do you know would want to be delighted or feel delighted in getting through a transaction like that? So
exactly.
It's getting the contract accepted. It's getting through the home inspection. It's getting through finance. Hey, John, I just got word from the lender. You're approved for your loan. That's awesome, right?
Right.
Another point to ask for the referral. So I think as we wrap up here in the last minute or two is we got to keep in mind, right? I believe, and I think you believe, our systems are working by referral. We believe wholeheartedly in the system of working by referral and how it supports your life and not runs your life. And if you stay consistent in the stability section, doing your activities, you're going to build a good business. But I think we agree to the tracking piece, correct?
Yep, totally.
And and then you got to ask for the referral. And there's so many times we don't want to make it conditional. We want to make it unconditional. And we just ask for the referral. I think most of us are afraid of fear of rejection. Like we don't want to say, hey, do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell a house? And when they say no, we're like, we cringe, right? They didn't reject you. They just said they don't have a referral for you right now.
Well, you want them to stop liking you. That's it. You want them to start avoiding your phone call or think nobody would see you as a salesman.
Right.
And if you look at yourself as a salesman and you try to, if you think you are, then you're going to present that. You're going to stink of it, and people can sniff that out from a mile away when you just come from the heart, and it just come from the come from a true nature.
Yeah.
I don't give away a pie and say, okay, now send me business for each pie I give out.
No, we know that's a cumulative effect of treating people right.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun to do the things we do. The way you and I, we work together a lot in client events and such. To work the way we do is just, it's fun. I mean, I get to make money and I get to go hang out with people I like and not to bother people that don't know me, to ask for business necessarily. Let them offer me business. That's a fun way to work.
All good stuff, John Kantorski. Well, look, man, I'm proud to be in business with you. We've done a few deals together over the years. We're working out of the same office now. And if anybody's got any questions at all about working by referral, they sure can call me, but I think you'd be open to letting them call you too, wouldn't you?
Please, anytime.
How do they get a hold of you, John? How do they get a hold of John Kantorski?
Just find Rob. No. johnkantorski@gmail.com, or you could find – There's only 3 John Kantorskis in the whole world. So do a Google search and you'll just find me.
John, you're the only John Kantorski I know.
Love you, Rob.
I love you too, pal. Well, look, thanks for coming on today. Thanks for helping me out with the assistance in this little podcast here or
anytime
presentation. And again, anybody, if you're looking for a way to learn to do business by referral, John or I, or there's a number of other people we can refer you to, that'll be happy to help you out. Thanks so much, and we will see you next time. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, guys.
All right. Take care.